Okay, hi guys, it's July 13th, 2011. We have for the first time the Apollo bass amp mic'd up, and Dusty Wakeman is here with us, scratching the strings for us. Thank you, sir. And a lot of you have been on already as we've been going for about 20 minutes here trying to get the sound dialed in. But yeah, Dusty's here from Mojave Microphones, who's also an extremely experienced engineer and happens to be a great bass player. And then we have our little side thing that we just did called the Valley Village Idiots, in which Dusty played bass.
That was fun.
But we brought over a new mic today, the Mojave 201 FET. Let me hold that up to the camera. You can see the beautiful gold diaphragm in there. So we have this along with the Royer 121 and the Mojave MA200 out on the whole room. So we've been kind of here you can see the model number better there. I apologize. So we're trying to dial in some bass sounds. It's a little bit difficult trying to get this sounding right through the internet, but we're here playing. And Dusty's going to play because he's a real bass player. I'm a guitar player who doesn't really do this. And so, I asked you a question a little bit ago, and I didn't let you finish. I'm sorry. I was, all your experience. Dusty's really well known for mostly doing, dozens and dozens of records. But my favorite stuff that he's done is the Dwight Yoakam records. And if it's like hillbilly rock and roll records that sound like rock, and or country records that sound like rock. Like you really made them sound just gigantic. And I'm sure there's lots of tricks and drum sounds and blah 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 blah. But I thought you'd get a kick out of the Apollo because you probably worked with the B15 quite a bit.
Oh, I love this amp. Yeah, it was instant love because I've played B15s forever.
That's right.
Since I was a kid.
And you played this at our gig, right?
Yeah. With two cabinets, and the two cabinets really made it work for live because that was outdoors.
Yeah, that's right.
You need a lot of amp for bass outdoors.
Oh yeah.
It worked great.
Yeah, I think you were only running it on 4 or something.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's a big amp. Our bass player in another band that I deal with, we run it here with 2 cabinets, and we're always telling them to turn down.
Right.
It's like, dude, seriously, stop. But
that's when you know it's not enough.
That's right. So for those of you that are not watching this live, this is loosely based on a B15N, which is the mid-60s version of the B15. And it's got a pair of 6L6s in it. And it runs on 6SL7 preamp tubes, which are the key to the old B15s. And you look at a lot of the B15 reissues, they don't have those tubes in them. They run on 12AX7s, which, 6SL7 looks like a 6L6, or 6V6, excuse me. It's a really big tube, and it's got a lot of frequency response to it, so it makes a huge difference. And we put a couple of different options on this amp. There's a normal and full range switch on it, and the full range switch takes it way beyond what an original B15 would do. Get you, I think the output transformer goes down to just below 20 hertz on this. Which is below human hearing. So you get some subharmonics out of it and you feel it. We also put an adjustable input pad on here. For those of you that are familiar with a B15, you know that it will not handle a modern bass. So we've got it here where you can, right now it's on the half pad setting, which is the same as the original. But you can take it off and get a big John Entwistle, Tom Peterson rock bass sound. Or you can put a full pad on and run basses with active electronics.
If you really want to make this clean.
Yeah, you want to go super clean.
Let's put the pad on.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can turn the volume way up when you do that. Yeah, you want to get super sweet jazz clean. Kevin's asking, what are the cab options for the Apollo? Right now, we just have a 115. It's a special 15-inch speaker that Celestian made for us, and they helped us with our cabinet. They got good engineers over there. And we told them we wanted to get subharmonics out of it, so they helped us get the air pressure right in the cabinet and the ports right. And so it sounds like a vintage cabinet, but I really wanted it to sound like a little SVT when you hit the full range switch. And so they did a good job with it. They seemed to get it right. Let's see. They're asking, hey, Dust, are you using round wounds or flats? Or round wounds on this bass,
These are
right?
rounds on here.
They're about a year old, too.
And then on the 3-string we'll plug in a minute, and it's flats.
Oh, yeah. And
heavy gauge labella flats.
Oh, nice.
With foam under the bridge.
Oh, right.
And that was something that, doing country records especially, or any sort of like a root sound, putting foam under the bridge really helps.
Does it really?
Yeah, mute some of those harmonics and just control it a little bit.
Gives you more like the tic-tac kind of sound?
Yeah, or just more of a not so, because you don't want it to compete with the guitars.
Yes.
And the vocals and everything else.
Right.
You want it to have its place in the mix.
Yeah.
So, for roots kind of stuff, like blues or Americana or country.
Yeah.
Controlling those harmonics. I mean, for the rock stuff, you really want those there.
Sure.
And you really want a little bit of distortion.
Yep.
A lot of times, a bass can be really distorted, but in the mix, you don't hear the distortion.
That's
it
right.
Just works as presence.
Man, every big rock concert I've ever been to, when you go to sound check, the bass is dirty as hell.
Right.
No one ever realizes that. They kind of want it to be this crystal clean piano sound.
Right.
Which, that's just not the way people play rock music.
Well, I've gone through so many different phases in my life. I mean, I went through my Chris Squire phase,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Yes came out.
Rickenbacker through a son.
Yeah. Well, no, I had a Rickenbacker, and I had a Super Beetle for the treble pickup, and an acoustic 371 for the bass pickup.
Oh, my God.
This is playing like frat houses in Austin, so we were
killing.
ridiculously loud.
Yeah, and bright.
Yeah. But I kept coming back to Fenders. And I really love playing flat. I mean, if I go to a session, I take one of each. I take my P bass with
That's right.
round wounds and my, either that or my jazz bass with the flat wounds. And then it's like, what do you want? What's the song?
Sure.
Call for?
Oh, you got everything there,
Right.
yeah.
But the harmonics and the distortion in a rock mix give you the presence.
That's right.
So you try to get, especially that's why I hate active basses, because it's like you say that piano sound.
Yeah.
And it'll sound gorgeous on its own.
By itself,
but
yeah.
You can't dig it out of the mix. It's so much tits and ass.
It just sounds like thunder in the background.
It's all highs and lows, and you can't get it
right
to pop out of the mix.
That's right.
You want more of that impact.
And I get it. When you're sitting by yourself playing, that sound is more interesting.
Yeah, it's very seductive.
Yeah, but when you're trying to make music,
right,
it's not particularly useful.
Yeah. Well, if you're doing jazz, instrumental stuff, and the bass is the lead instrument, then sure, you can turn it up.
That's right, yeah.
If there's singers and guitars and B3s and pianos and all that stuff, then you want the bass to occupy. And I usually look at it as the kick drum's going to have the low octave, and then the bass is going to have the octave above that. So if the kick drum is really popping around 50 cycles, you want the bass to be really popping around 100 cycles.
Sure.
And if I'm using something like that 1073 down there that's got great any sort of a Neve, the Neve filters.
Sure.
I usually high pass it around 50.
Oh yeah.
Just to clean up the bottom end.
Sure.
And then maybe boost it a little bit around 100, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And that really makes the bass pop through in the mix.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
It depends on what the song's calling for. That's why you want to have some options.
Let's see, we got some laughter going on here.
That's why I like this amp here, because you got so many different options. You can really dial it into what you want.
Well, that was the whole deal. I think we were talking about it a minute ago before we were recording, so I'll just kind of repeat it. But this amp kind of came out of requests from engineers and producers here in LA who were tired of they love their B15s, but they just break down because they're 40, 45-year-old amps now. And they can't take a modern bass, and you can't separate the head in a cabinet. And
you never want to take it out on a gig.
Oh, no, God, no.
Slow beer on that and it's over.
Oh, just riding in the car, I'll usually mess it up. Yeah. But, I mean, the thing is, you can't take the head in a control room.
Right.
And so I had a bunch of guys asking for it, so I sort of just did it for fun. And we started off, I borrowed Greg Wells' B15N, Lon Cohen studio rentals over here. Lon had like 6 of them. Went over there with some basses and played, picked out a couple to bring here. Excuse me, Jesus. Those were, what a crude redneck. Those were our reference pieces, and we started there. And then the two things that always drove me nuts about a B15 are, it needs more bottom end for live use. Right. So we put that in, and then, it won't take a modern bass. So
and you can't really turn it up.
You can't crank it, right. Yeah. And so we put that adjustable input pad on there. But I like the distortion it gets, too. So let's just take the pad off. Because we sat around with a Decade box trying to pick pads. he was like, well, it sounds pretty good with nothing on it. Also, when you run a guitar through it sounds great.
Yeah, it's great to have those options.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you run that through a 212 with, big fat slide guitar. It sounds fantastic.
I was going to say, I bet this would be nice on pedal steel, too.
Yeah, Greg Lease came over and played a little bit of stuff on it and just loved it. But, this amp itself is going to Lars Haugen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're running it on a Variac right now at 230 volts because it's going over to Norway as soon as we're done with this broadcast. And he's going to use it at Velvet Recording for bass, but also for steel.
Oh, cool.
Going to use it for steel guitar and slide.
Awesome.
For recording. I was just over there. I have some videos I'll show you.
Oh, cool.
Man, their studio's so nice. It was incredible. But they said to tell you hi, and I think I got you guys hooked up,
yeah,
right? So
right.
You're rolling. Let's see what's going on here. We're missing some stuff. Can we have a little more volume on Dusty? You know what? Dusty's mic's off because we were getting some weird interference with it. You want to try turning it on and see if it makes any more noise over there?
Make an ugly noise.
No, it should be all right. Let me know when you're on. I'll turn it up here.
I'm on. All the way over to the right?
Yes. You should be getting something now.
Howdy, folks. Yeah, hear me.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it okay? You getting any weird noises?
So far, so good.
Okay, maybe that'll work. Let's see. What does this say? He's not on a mic. He's being. Oh yeah, Dusty needs a mic. Oh yeah. That's what we had him on a minute ago, and we were getting all sorts of weird sort of interaction with something, so we just cut his mic off.
I think there was spaceships flying over.
Spaceships. It is North Hollywood, and
yeah.
the Burbank Airport's right behind us, so God knows what's going by here. But anyway, so you guys can hear Dusty now. Any progress with some new bass cabs? No, it's really just a matter of time. Chemtrails. That's funny. We want to do a 410 cabinet and even maybe a 212. I love bass through 12s.
Yep.
It's just a sign of age because when I first started playing, there weren't anything but 12s.
Yeah, man, the 10 using 10s for bass, that was revolutionary when the SVT came out.
That's right.
Of course, they used 8 of them.
Yeah, you needed 8 of them
right.
to make some noise, but everybody was playing through 412 Marshall cabinets, or even there was the Fender 15s, the Basement 15s, but they weren't very loud. It was.
Well, it's funny. You go to all the clubs have backline now.
Yeah.
It's always a 410 cabinet, but they all have those horns on them. So the first thing I do is reach back there before I even
turn that thing off.
Turn that thing off.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's there.
The 80s and 90s are over.
Yeah.
We're not doing slap and pop.
Right.
Just it's.
And even then, if you're got a bright sound, you wouldn't put a horn on a guitar.
No.
It just brings out the ugly.
Yeah. I mean, even like when the Beatles were playing those AC50s with horns in them,
right.
They used to snip them. They used to cut them out because it was just obnoxious.
Not a pretty sound.
Yeah. Do you need glass water?
I got some over here.
Oh, okay. But so someone was asking, is that an old stock J bass? No. You know what it is? It is a Mexican-made road-worn bass. And the only thing I've changed on are the pickups. It's got Seymour made me some jazz bass pickups for it. And I think they're just antiquity.
Yeah.
Jazz bass.
I love this bass.
Thanks, man. Well, let's hear the 3-stringer.
Okay. Let's
see what you got there.
Here. We'll go from rock to
and this is
non-rock.
This is Dusty's serious country bass, and it's actually made with 3 strings. 3 tuning keys on the headstock. You're not seeing things. And it looks like the neck's cut down too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a jazz neck. Rick Turner. I'll tell you guys the story, but you got to promise not to tell anybody.
Because share this.
There's the truth, and then there's the public story.
Yeah.
The public story is that I found this at a garage sale in Van Nuys.
It looks pretty clean for something.
And they couldn't sell it because it was defective, and that it was actually a prototype that they made back in the early '60s, around the time they made the Fender Bass 5.
Oh, okay.
And the Bass 6.
Yeah.
And Skip Edwards, the keyboard.
I would imagine in Nashville the high G string's just not needed anyway.
Are you kidding? In Nashville, they're all playing 6 strings with batteries and stuff.
Well, now they are, but
the joke for a long time was, today's rock, tomorrow's country.
That's right.
When it comes
Still
to
is.
sounds.
Yeah.
Because when everybody, in the 80s, everybody in LA had racks.
Yeah.
The bass player had a rack, and the guitar player had a rack, and everything was in stereo. Yeah. And then in the 90s, everybody got hip to small amps, went back to small amps. So all the racks went to Nashville.
Yeah, right.
So everybody's, now they're into cool amps too. But
no, Nashville's pretty well caught up now.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty caught up.
But I mean, you can tell like a lot of the producers in Nashville are guys that were playing here in LA in the 80s. Like Dan Huff was in a band on the Strip. I forget the name of it now. I'll remember it later. But man, a lot of the stuff that he's producing sounds like old pop music.
Oh yeah, and the engineers too. I mean, there's Nashville's just rocking these days. It's just rocking.
There's not.
I've lost a lot of LA musician friends to Nashville.
Man, our good friend David Cobb just moved to Nashville.
Really?
He did that Secret Sisters record with T-Bone.
Right.
And they did it all analog with tape and the whole bit. And apparently a lot of people in Nashville just hate him because he made something they don't do there anymore. It's called country music.
Right.
And I mean, you got to hear that. You've heard that record, the Secret Sisters.
Sure, it's great.
Cobb did it over here at his home studio in Silver Lake, and he's got a beautiful studio there. And he did a lot of it in Nashville, but he just did open auditions in Nashville. And these girls drove up from, I think they're from Muscle Shoals. And one of them came and sang, and she was like, well, I'm good, but you ought to hear my sister sing. She's on her way up in her car, and he's like, oh, really? Do you girls sing together? He goes, yeah, we sing in church 3 days a week. And Dave went, like radar went off. And, man, that record is unbelievable. But it's all analog, all live to tape. There's hardly any overdubs on it. And
it's nice when people can actually play.
They can play the song and sing it.
That performance.
But all their vocals are live. And most of the time they're singing on one mic.
Cool.
Just two sisters standing on either side of one mic singing. Right. And it sounds so freaking good.
You ever heard that band from Canada called the Wayland Ginnies?
No. I love the name.
They're 3 girls and a guy that plays instruments.
Uh-huh.
And they do that. They're on Prairie Home Companion a lot.
Oh, cool.
And they're on there's a Royer, on the Royer demos CD, there's a recording of them. Just a cappella with some percussion. And they do that, and it's just amazing. Amazing to hear people that can actually blend together and
it's
do
incredible.
It all live.
Giant was the band that Dan Huff was in.
Oh, right.
So you know what? We got sidetracked. What is the real story on this band?
Okay, the real story is I was working with Lucinda Williams in about 1988, and her killer bass player, the late John Chambody, who was in a group called Clover with Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
And big San Francisco band.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff on them on YouTube.
Yeah.
He was a great bass player. And Chambody, he was also a chiropractor. He was kind of semi-retired from music. And he was the rock and roll chiropractor. He was a big fella. And he would come in with this beautiful old P bass. No case or anything. Just, dragging it and tossing it around, which is the beauty of Fender basses. You can treat them like that. They kind of like to be slapped around a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. You can't baby them.
And he broke a G string, and he just never replaced it. And we were both like into that James Jamerson style. James Jamerson is the guy that's famous for Motown.
That's right.
And famous for B-15.
Yeah, that's right.
And flat wounds. Never changed the strings.
Yeah, dirty strings.
Yeah. Those strings should be in like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Smithsonian. We got to laughing, and I was playing with Pete Anderson. I was engineering Lucinda's record, but I was playing with Pete Anderson. Mm-hmm. And we were like, wouldn't it be cool to make a 3-string bass? Because that's when the 5- and 6-string basses were starting to come
go
around.
the other way. Like, exactly.
So I told that to Rick Turner, the famous luthier, who was in L.A. at the time. So we were just going to take like a Mexican P bass and convert it, or a Japanese one or something cheap.
Yeah, just do some surgery.
So unfortunately, Westwood Music was between my apartment where I lived and my bank.
I love that.
So I would walk to the bank and I would stop by Westwood Music.
Unfortunately, Westwood Music.
And Rick Turner was parked there at the time. He was in L.A. and he had a shop there at Westwood Music.
Yeah.
So we got to be fair. Then nobody could adjust my basses like Rick. If it wasn't feeling right, I'd take it by and just go, oh.
Yeah, right.
And it would be perfect. So we got to talking about it, and this is the guy that invented Alembic.
Yeah.
You know, and built Stanley Clark's
He knows
famous,
basses, yeah.
and he knows modern basses too. But he's totally into it.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's build one. So then it's like, I'd come by and he goes, hey man, I found this body, and it's only going to be a couple of hundred more.
Okay.
And you're like, okay. Then, you know, a couple of months later, be like, I found this neck.
Perfect.
And it's only going to be a couple of hundred more.
Uh-oh.
You know, so by the time it was done, it was a fairly pricey, and it took over a year to get it.
Yeah.
But these are Seymour vintage Ps.
Oh, cool.
I think they're antiquities.
Antiquity. Yeah, that's his vintage line.
And then, you know, their P-bass pickups, you can't see because we have this on there, which is how basses actually come. My friend Taras Pradanic, who played with Dwight for years in Lucinda, he plays with Richard Thompson now, calls this a sit-in guard.
A sit-in guard.
Yeah, because if you leave this on your bass and guys want to sit in, they can't play.
They don't. Yeah, exactly. Makes you look good.
Yeah, it discourages people from sitting.
Yeah, I have a hard time with those. I know every P-basses all come with those.
Yeah,
I always just take it right
and
off.
they came with the bridge cover, and I've got extra foam in here.
Yeah, I can see you got a lot of foam.
This is really thuddy.
Yeah, that's cool. Are you getting enough level out of that? You may push you a little more.
Here, let me turn it up a little.
Oh yeah, there you go. So we're still in the normal range. I don't know that you guys would hear the full range over the headphones or over computer speakers, definitely.
Yeah, I got this bass has a lot of output too, between these pickups and these strings.
Oh yeah, and I noticed you got a D flip on there too, right?
Yeah, although it's kind of a waste on this bass because I can tune this thing down to like B.
Yeah.
And play.
Sure.
I can tune the whole thing down.
Yeah, you got big fat.
So I use it live once in a while. But,
right.
You know, it's just as easy to go.
Oh yeah.
Turn it down and on. It's been on a million records. I mean, just.
I love how skinny the neck is with
the
three
sustain
strings.
on this thing.
Yeah. I can hear it through the wall. I can't really hear what's going on other than the bass rumbling through the wall.
It's been on a lot of records. This was a house bass at Mad Dog. You
know?
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
And it was great because a lot of producers knew I had it, and they would like, here, try this to the bass player, and then the guys would fall in love with it. You know,
yeah.
And it makes you play differently because if you play in first position like James Jameson always did, you always see pictures of him.
Yeah,
he's always in first position.
That's right.
Right, and because he was an upright player to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing a run, you know, and you want to get above that G right there, you go back down.
Right.
You either have to switch positions or go back down.
Yeah.
So it makes you like...
You got to start reaching, too.
Yeah,
right?
so you'll start inverting things in an odd place in a run, and you come up with some really cool parts that way.
That's funny, because like one of my daughters really wants to get good at bass, and it's just so hard for her because she's so little. I'm thinking, well, this might be something she can handle.
Get her a Mustang, man.
Yeah, I got a 3/4 size bass.
Cool.
Actually, what I have is a Beetle bass.
You know what? Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what's really cool. My sister-in-law, when she went off to college, this was a long time ago, you know, it's like, I want to play bass in a punk band. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, look, let me go to the store with you. So we went to Guitar Center over here in the Valley, and I found her an EB3.
Oh, yeah.
An old EB3.
Yeah,
Instead of getting something new,
crazy,
it's so I got a little Fender amp and an EB3, and of course she played it for a minute, and then it's like, I'm not into this. And it's like, I'll take the bass.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's unfortunate.
I've got that EB3 now, and that's just a killer bass to have.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, there's Peter. Loud Stroud. Sounding great, maybe driving the digital input a hair. Yeah, it could be. It's hard on this thing.
It's a lot of power coming out of here, man, off the 3-string. It's hard to contain it.
It's...
I wonder if we could just pull down the master a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see what we got here. And I can push a little harder on Ustream here. Let's see what we got. Go ahead and play for a sec.
When you put the pick on this setup with the flat wounds and the foam, it's like instant retro 60s.
Exactly. You got your tic-tac bass going on. So yeah, everybody, there's my brother Peter Stroud on here, Loud Stroud, as opposed to normal volume Stroud. How's that sound on the phones?
Sounds nice and clean in here as long as I lay off it.
Oh, okay. So I pulled the mains back a little bit. Yeah, Kevin Geyer says you can hear the foam in the bridge. It's kind of like a noise gate. Yeah, I think that's kind of what he's going for, the quick thud country bass. I mean, it sounds great acoustically just sitting here.
Here, take a turn with the headphones.
Yeah, let me see what we got going on here. Oh, yeah. That's perfect. Yeah, I hear a little digital distortion there. You know what I probably need to do is get good with compressors and limiters here. Figure out which channel's doing it, which mic is doing it. Because we're running pretty raw here. I've got a little bit of compression going on. Somebody writes, let's have another beer. Come on, baby. Let me see if I can hear this full range switch on here at all. Yeah, a little bit. You get a little more highs with that too. Yeah, I hear that distortion when you hit it. Well, you guys will forgive us, right? Let's see what I can do.
I didn't even think about tuning.
Yeah, why? What for? Oh yeah, listen to that. Good distortion. I wonder what channel that is. Changing mics here. Yeah, just when you get them all up to, oh, it seems to be the Royer. Trying to just use a limiter here and see what we can get. Man, that bass sounds good.
Yeah, for a bass that started out as a joke, it really turned into a fine instrument.
Uh-huh. So Martin Gooseland's saying, try only the 201. The Royer can get a bit windy. And compress
Yeah, turn
it.
off the Royer and see what happens.
Okay, let me mute that guy. Does that sound different out there? It's not much, you know, like I'm hearing the digital part. He also says don't use a Royer without a pop filter. The Royer is about 6 or 8 inches away too. Is that too close?
Yeah, you should probably have a pop filter on it for...
Should I move it further away?
Yeah, we could.
All right, why don't you keep playing? I'll run out there. And you can tell dirty jokes. I'll run out there and move it a little bit. And I got the Royer off. Well, actually, you know, I'll put it back up right now. It's mostly the 201 that we're listening to right now.
Yeah, the 201's got a really big transformer on it, so it's got the...
It's going to soak this up, okay?
Yeah, the really good low end. It's a good kick drum mic, too.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
okay,
it's kind of like a poor man's version of a 47 FET.
Oh, that works.
I think if Dan would just build a $500,000...
Man, this amp sounds good out here.
$500,000 control room here, where, you know, we could dial this in a little
I don't know if
better.
you guys can still hear me if I'm too far away. So I'm going to move. Yeah, it's really clean out here. I'm going to move the Royer back to about 2 feet. And then I'll come back in there and adjust the level on it. Does it sound any better?
It's clean out there?
Yeah, it sounded really good out there. Can I see those phones real quick?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't get my... We redid the board, and I had a hard time wiring it up the same way you had it before. Okay, let me solo that. Oh yeah, now I can gain up this preamp more. Yeah, a little bit of distortion there. And then bring them all back in. It's funny, I have the EQ turned off on this Neve. I bet we could get some serious thump out of this thing. Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, between this amp and this bass, you shouldn't really have to EQ it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is always my goal as an engineer.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, EQing's for mastering, right?
Yeah, or maybe in the mix, just like dialing out a little something.
Yeah.
Creating a little space. Or
using it more as a filter.
Yeah, or just boosting a little something to make it speak more, but it should be pretty close.
Yeah, pop filter. Next time we'll do that.
Yeah, and with the Royer, it's not the SPL, it's just the air.
Right.
The air coming off the speaker.
It just actually senses the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Break like the wind.
Exactly. That's why Martin said the Royer can get a bit windy with bass.
Well, it can.
Yeah.
Yep.
And everyone in England's going, I beg your pardon. Yeah, that Jeep ad's irritating, isn't it? Hi, Neil in San Antonio. How you doing, man? Yeah, we're going to figure out the subscription thing. They're getting like Netflix, man. It's like $400 a month now to get a version of this without, what's happening. These guys are watching this, a 30-second ad will pop up. And it picks them up where they left off, but it's just annoying as hell. And so, yeah, they want a ton of money to do it. And then you run out of time. It's only for a certain amount of viewers. So
$400 subscription for you?
For me. Right. And then I think you guys can get a subscription for $9 a month or something that'll make them go away. But I don't really want you guys to pay to come to this. But yeah, Peter, that adds. They just started that last week. I'm doing the thing, and everybody's like, wow. Yeah, Martin says he gets great sounds with a Royer on his Apollo, but with a pop filter and tilted. Well, thank you, Kiwi Steve. It's only for 30 seconds. I know it's annoying. I apologize for that. But we're working on it. Summertime when we're slow is not the good time for me to... not a good time for me to spend a bunch of more money. I've heard that if you watch this on Chrome, if your browser is Chrome, which is what I'm using for the broadcast, and you get ad block, and FS75 just said that. If you have Chrome and Firefox, you can download ad block, and all the ads will go away. So for all you guys that are on a Mac, Google Chrome browser will block the ads out. For now, I'm sure they'll figure it out, but and then also you can watch the recording of this. It's fine. I really apologize. We're going to figure it out. It's a new thing, and it kind of caught us by surprise. But so Martin says, I will buy a 201 after hearing this. Well, Martin, Arna in Kristiansund just started selling Mojave, right? You guys hooked up?
We haven't finalized it yet, but we hope to. Yeah.
But you will, yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to Arna. You know Arna. I met Martin at the festival.
Oh, cool.
A couple weeks ago, finally, and I got so darn busy we didn't get to hang out at all. And I was trying to do a broadcast, and we did a sound check at this part of the venue, and I was getting 900K bandwidth, and I was doing it on my iPad, and it was fine. And then everyone walked in with their smartphones. And my bandwidth went down to 100K and then cut off half the time. So there's these amazing short clips of great sound but no video.
Right.
Because the sound on that iPad actually works really well. My wife got me that for Father's Day, and that was my first time really using it.
Oh, cool.
And it was just darn fun. But yeah, I had no bandwidth. So Martin showed up and brought gear and everything and wanted to do a real show. And I was sort of at the mercy of Arne Haas, the guy you're going to work with. And he was a big role in the festival, and the Hellbillies were there, and Lars Haugen's band. And I was hanging out with Nazareth. Remember those guys?
Sure.
The Scottish dudes from the 70s. They were just sweet as can be. Absolute sweet guys. One of their Marshalls blew up at soundcheck, and we gave it some love. And they're like giving me drinks the whole time. It's my job to make sure you don't get thirsty, mate. And they're just sweet as can be. And Dan McCafferty, I think the lead singer, still sounds great. He's 65 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got that sound, that high-pitched thing that he does.
Yeah.
Love Heights, that thing. It's just like, wow, and he still just kills it. And then a bunch of big Norwegian bands were there, some of which play our gear, like the Lillos and another band. And I just got so soaked up, and poor Martin came all the way up from Oslo. So I'm sorry, Martin, again, publicly I'm apologizing. We didn't get to hang out. He comes up to me and just shakes my hand. Hi, how you doing? My name's Martin. Are you Martin Goosland? And yeah, so we got to talk for 5 or 10 minutes, but really, really nice guy. The whole trip was fantastic. You got to come with me.
Yeah, I was going to say next summer maybe I can come play bass for you.
Dude, it's great.
I love Norway, and especially in the summer.
Oh, man, it was so beautiful, and the people are so lovely.
Oh, I love the people there.
Yeah.
I've been there 3 times, 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, I realize I'm a guest, so they're probably treating me pretty nicely, but I'm an American guest, and usually Americans don't get treated the best when they're in Europe. And
they do in Norway.
Man, I just got treated like family.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just amazing. And, the weather wasn't so great up on the coast. It was kind of some ocean weather.
Right.
But when I was down in Oslo, man, it was just amazing. And the food's great. And, music's
The
good.
music scene is just so...
It's all live music.
Amazing in Norway. It's mind-blowing how deep it is.
We went to this place called the Palace Grill in Oslo. And there's like 2 good bands. I was there for an hour and a half with Lars and Aslog. And... there's 2 amazing bands. Like, these guys are great. And they're like, bar band. And
I think I've talked to you about this before, but the Allman Brothers tribute.
Yeah. Didn't
Lars
and Aslog play on it?
Yeah, and Gear Sinstall, who's my old buddy.
Yeah.
And Lasse on keyboards. And
yeah.
It's like, I've been part of some Allman Brothers tributes here before. That, we're good.
Right.
These guys,
they take it seriously.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I watch it once in a while. I'll just go on. I think they did it like 10 years ago or something.
Man, if you look
amazing.
If you look on YouTube, there's a lot of videos of the Hellbillies doing Dwight songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, Aslog doesn't sing anything like Dwight.
Right.
But they do great versions of it. And, of course, Lars's guitar playing is just
he's amazing.
Stupid,
Yeah.
I got up and played with him.
Cool.
Yeah, a little bit of pee was running down my leg the whole time, man. It was just like, he said, hey, do you want to get up and play? There's a song on a solo record called How Low Can You Go, where he's playing it on baritone guitar.
Right.
He's got a double neck Jerry Jones.
Oh, cool.
And I'd never played the song. I'd listened to the CD a bunch, I didn't even know what key it was in. He's like, you'll be fine, come on. And so we did a quick sound check, and then I got up and played with him. Man, it was so much fun. There's a video. I'll send you a link to it, but and he just plays better live than he does on the record. It's incredible.
Amazing.
But that's the record that he did with David Bianco.
Right. Who I talked to this morning, who's about 5 miles from here.
We got to have David over sometime.
Yeah, well, let's
do the show. I've never met him in person. I'd love to.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, Lars absolutely adores him.
Yeah, he's the best. He used to be a really good client at my studio, Mad Dog,
right.
before we got in the era where everybody had to have their own room to make a living. But we're really good friends. He's a big Mojave guy.
That's right. He's all over your website, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's one of the first people, like when we have a new model, I take it to him because, he used to work at Mad Dog, and, I've been engineering a long time.
Yeah.
And I would walk in the room when he'd be mixing, I'd just get mad. It's like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And I'd be looking around and looking at his EQ settings and what compressor he's using where, and he was just doing the same stuff. It's just in the ears.
Yeah.
He's just got golden ears.
Yeah. Some people are made for it.
Make me mad.
And I'm not one of those guys.
And he's just the humblest, nicest person,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, Lars just was raving about him. So he's
Yeah.
such a sweetheart, such a gentleman.
And he's always really enthusiastic, you know.
That's great.
Great guy, works really hard.
That's very cool.
Yep.
So, are there any other basses we should play? I've just got that P bass, maple neck P bass.
We could plug that in.
If you want.
Might as well.
And somebody's saying, yeah, we could put a direct box on, but I don't know. If a direct box, you're really hearing the bass more than the amp.
Yeah, there's one direct box that I love, and it's the Ready box, made by A Designs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, they make the nice mic pre's.
Right.
Like the Pacifica. Mm-hmm. They're over here in the other end of the valley.
Yeah, right.
But that Ready box, it's got a B15 kind of thing to it, too.
Oh,
I don't even know what's in it.
Oh, okay.
But it's got a lot of circuitry.
Just good transformers,
yeah. And it sounds great.
Let me reach over the desk here and see if I can... Oh, we lost your pack. Doo-doo. Oh, the mic came out of the clip, too, up here. I'll get you back together.
Let me do this.
Oh, okay.
But the Ready boxes, you know, for a long time it was the Demeter Tube DI.
That's right.
Was the one.
Yeah.
And then the Avalon came out, which was solid state, but that was a really good.
But everything Avalon's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? Like they just sound.
Yeah, it used to be anyway. I don't know about now.
Yeah.
Their stuff used to be really good.
Here, let me put you back together.
It's one of those deals like the original company was amazing, and then when they went big time.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not sure what's happening with them now. Let's plug this guy in.
Oh yeah, here we go. That's a little bit of a mess here, isn't it?
It's like a studio.
Yeah. Here, let's put this over there. Hopefully it won't interact.
I hear something coming through the wall.
Oh, here you go.
Ooh, this is a sweet one too.
Yeah, that's my friend Cal Curtis's 71P.
That's a rock bass right there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love the maple with the flats because you get sort of the spank of the maple still, but the smoothness of the flats. So this is a 71 Precision with flats on it. So Martin is asking, do you recommend the Ready over the Avalon U5?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do. I love the Ready. And the first time I used it was on a Tony Furtado record at Wavelab over in Tucson. I was there for a tape op convention. My friend Craig Schumacher, that's his studio.
Oh, cool.
And then I'd worked with Tony before. I don't know if you know Tony or not. But
I know who he is.
He's
yeah.
Monster, Slide, Dobro.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you. We got a guy here who says, I got the show running on my Roku through my home theater and the low is rattling stuff here.
Oh, cool. Good.
So some of it's getting through somewhere then.
Cool.
Better than the headphone jack of the board.
And I always use an amp in the studio. Like to have an amp and a direct.
Yeah.
And the way Craig's studio was all in one room, the control room, everything.
Yeah.
So, and because Tony was playing a lot of acoustic instruments.
Yeah.
I was like, can I set my amp somewhere? He said, try this direct box. And he said, if you're not happy, we'll reamp it later. It's like, cool.
Okay.
He's had a lot of cool bass amps there. And it was the Ready box into a UA 610. And I forgot there wasn't an amp. It just sounded so big and
really?
Raw.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like, I'm happy. It sounded great.
Yeah. And the old 610's nice, too. It's sweet.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, UA is making great stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good friend of mine, Cal Curtis's bass. He's a songwriter guy who...
Turn down the Royer a little bit. Is it? We're hearing all three?
Yeah. Is the Royer too hot?
Maybe a little bit.
Is it distorting? I can...
No, it's just a little phasey sounding with it moved back, you know?
Oh, okay. Oh, here, I mean, flip the phase on it?
Try it. Oh, that's better. Because, see, we moved it.
Yeah, I got it out of phase.
Now the bottom end is back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Sounds great through the wall. Hey, Doug. No, we haven't played guitar yet. I'm not sure if we'll get to it because I got to go out there and switch cabinets. But you know what? We'll do that next week. We're having so much fun talking to Dusty.
Listening to Dusty Noodle.
That's right.
Whoops.
Dusty Noodles.
It's falling off here.
Yeah, that's my high-class rig. I got to get a better guest mic. You know, for something like this, I could just use a regular old microphone. We could just set it on the desk. So with guitar, it's usually so loud coming through the wall that I got to close mic our voice. Peter, did you have any luck downloading Adblock? Oh, Martin Gooseland said, I had the sound, which is what I do for a living, for a guitar player that bought your Cowboy Tolex Tupelo. Oh, that one just arrived in Norway last week. Amazing to hear the Tupelo in a band. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Rusty MLS said it'd be better to use a cardioid rather than an Omni that picks up everything in the room. I got the room mic pretty hot.
Well, the room mic is a cardioid.
Yeah.
It's just pretty far back.
Yeah, we don't have it in Omni setting. That's right.
Well, that's a 200, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
only cardioid.
It's only cardioid. The 300 is the variable.
Oh, right. That's right. Okay.
Which I'll bring over when I have some more. We're out of them.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have some in a couple of weeks. And I still want to bring the MA100 over for guitar, too.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to hear that. Yeah, you know, this amp, you run it through a 212 or even like my old Marshall 412. It's great. Big country rock amp.
Let's hear just the 201 for a second.
Okay.
Oh, we can turn it up. It's
pretty low.
Yeah, in fact, is it muted or something?
I'm
not really hearing.
You're not hearing anything?
Here.
Let's see. Sorry, guys. Bear with me for a second. Oh, that's not good. What happened? Well, that's weird. Something's wrong. I can't explain that. I'm not getting anything. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's the 201.
Working now?
Yeah. This guy saying, I have a drum kit in the front room and the snare is rattling. The sound on the stream is always much better than the video. Yeah, the audio quality I have set at 44 hertz. And the video is the highest quality it can be, but...
Okay, put the Royer in about halfway. A little bit more. Yeah, that's sounding pretty good now.
Is that good? You want about the room?
Let's try it. Put it about halfway.
Okay. Apollo at Summer NAMM. You know, we're not going to go to Summer NAMM this year. It just doesn't really benefit us to do it. We have a lot of dealers already. We save our money for Winter NAMM. Summer NAMM's always a whole lot of fun, but it doesn't really generate a lot of business for us. One guy's asking, so Dusty, you mentioned a large transformer on the 201. Does the 200 have the same transformer?
It's not the same transformer, but they're both Jensens.
Oh, okay.
And they're both big.
They're both big Jensens.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you really, like we've tried other, high quality transformers, but a buck's a buck, and we've tried, instead of a $30 Jensen transformer, we tried the $20 Cinemag transformer. And you can't really hear the difference until you get to like bass and kick drum.
Right.
Then you can hear the difference.
Right. The attack and the low end.
Yeah, the low end especially.
Nothing beats transformers, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I always, preach about it like crazy because that's the key to our amps. Because a circuit's a circuit. I mean, I have so many guys write me, go, man, I copied my 68 Plexi or whatever just perfectly, and it doesn't sound anything like the thing. I'm like, well, yeah, the circuit's the easy part.
Right.
Transformers and the tubes and the lead dress and the wire routing and the consistency of your soldering and all these sorts of things are what put the finesse into the amp.
Right.
But transformers are a must-have. You cannot fake transformers.
And that's really part of like the Mojave thing is big transformers.
Right.
Clean signal path, high quality components, and especially good transformers. And you just can't scrimp on it.
That's right.
That's really the problem with a lot of the cheaper mics is they just...
And amps, too.
Yeah, they don't want to spring for the good transformer.
And it's the most expensive part of the amp, by far.
Yeah, ours are like $30 a pop for a microphone. I can only imagine what yours are.
Well, my set, if I have a big amp with a choke in it, they're over $300.
Right.
And that's at OEM pricing. If you were to buy those from Mercury, it'd be over $800 or $900.
Right.
And it's just crazy.
But that's what you're hearing. There's no way around it.
But there's no way to fake it. And trust me, I've tried.
Right.
I've tried everything I could possibly do. I mean, our other company, Magnetic Components, does really, really good with machine wound ones. And, they cost less than the Mercury, but they're still really expensive compared to most people's transformers.
Right.
And that's the only thing we're doing different, like on our red line. But man, you just cannot fake it. I'll show you. We're going on a prototype right now. We're working on a prototype, guys. For nice legs, Dan. Oh, thanks, Peter. I didn't shave today, though. I hope you don't mind. And I did shave my back. Anyway, sorry. But we have a chassis out there where you can load up like 6 output transformers. And we just go through everything,
Oh, cool.
So you don't have to like wire it into the amp each time. We just got a big military switch on it. And man, every year I try to, okay, there's new transformer companies or whatever. Let's listen to them. And man, you just can't fake it. There's no way to do it. And there's a lot of guys that'll tell you otherwise because it's their marketing.
Right.
I'm sure you run into this in your business as well. But man, it's just without a good, I always use the analogy of your shoes. Like if you've got a $2,000 custom-made suit on with a cheap pair of shoes, you look like a bum.
Right.
But if you have an off-the-shelf suit from Macy's and a really nice pair of shoes on, you look pretty good. And there's no way. You just can't fake it. Anyway, that's my rant for today about
Transformers. And shoes. Fashion tips from Dan Boul.
That's right. And how to shave your legs. You can tell my system's not working very well. Cough, cough, Peter says. Hey, is that Chura in Norway? Hey, buddy. This is one of my favorite bass players. He plays with Lars. And he's just the swingingest bass player. He's so incredible. But he's asking, what Mojave mic would you recommend for vocals and acoustic guitars?
Either the 201 or the 200. Or the new 300. The 200 is tube. The 201 is...
Fat.
Solid state.
Yeah. And
for my scratchy old voice, I like the 201 better.
Yeah.
Because the fat gives it a little more presence.
Yeah.
The 200's a little prettier, so if you got a nice voice, the 200's nice.
Right, yeah.
They both sound great, and they're really close.
Okay.
They sound related when you hear them.
That's cool. Yeah, very nice.
Either one.
So Dusty, Mojaves are fairly cheap. Very good, though. How do they compare with more expensive amps like... Well, I wouldn't call them cheap. $1,000 isn't cheap.
They're kind of mid-range. And when we started this incarnation of Mojave 5 years ago, almost 6 now, there really wasn't anything in the middle. Mm-hmm. There was all the new cheap Chinese mics, the SEs and the Marshalls and all that stuff. The Rhodes had come out, all the lower end stuff. And then there was the expensive stuff.
Right.
Wasn't anything in the middle. And David had been playing around with these Chinese capsules for 30 years, which are all Neumann knockoffs to begin with, and had done a lot of handmade mics with those. So we were the first to use those capsules and manufacture in China, but use the high quality components.
Right.
Which a lot of people are doing now.
Sure. Just economizing where it doesn't really make any difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to make nice sounding mics accessible and affordable, because most of our customers are home recording guys. I mean, we've got all the stars using our mics.
Yeah.
But you can't live off that. We're really trying to, because it's all about the home recording guy these days. I mean, that's what the music industry's about.
Exactly.
And we're trying to get good mics in their hands.
That's cool.
So when we started off with the MA200, the idea was, if you're going to okay, you've got your home recording rig and you're ready to get one good microphone that does a lot of stuff well, here it is. And that was the MA200. And then from there, all of our mics have just kind of been variations on a theme. It's okay, now here's the solid state version.
Yeah.
Here's the small diaphragm version.
Yeah.
Here's the solid state version of the small diaphragm.
Sure.
And now the new mic, the MA300, is the multi-pattern version of the MA200.
Right. Well, man, that MA200 sounds silly.
They sound great.
And this one you just brought in today. Let me show this again. I think I showed this before we started recording.
Yeah, that's the 201 FET.
It's the 201 FET that we put on the bass amp today along with the Royer. And you can see that really beautiful diaphragm in there. Let me go back.
And it's the same capsule as the 200.
Right.
And for singers, it's really about 50-50. For the rock guys, they like the 201. Hip-hop guys like the 201.
Yeah.
Voiceover artists who are doing like movie trailers and stuff like that where it's got a cut.
Yeah.
Like the 201.
Yeah.
But the 200's got that really pretty, pristine high end like a good U67 does.
And just, you guys can't tell, but this feels like it's just superbly made. The fit and finish on this is second to none. I mean, it's a lot of times when I see stuff that's done overseas, it just feels like a brick.
Right.
And you can tell when you're looking at the fit and finish on the thing that it's just not super made. And this just looks flawless. It's
they're really
beautiful.
Great mics. And if you open that thing up, there's really nothing inside there. A couple
of
components.
Does this just screw off?
The bottom.
The
piece
bottom.
There.
Oh, right.
You open it up, and the transformer's in the bottom there. You can't really see it, but it's a big Jensen transformer. And then the components are all custom made. Components made to David's specs.
I don't want to take it fully apart.
You can take it fully apart. Take the body off, just slides off. And
there we go.
There's just not a lot to it. It's a real clean signal path.
Look at that.
And that's no big secret. It's just that's the way we make them.
Right.
We spend the money where it counts. Then in the bottom there, that's where the transformer lives.
Sure. Yeah, I can feel it. I mean, it's just nice, sturdy.
Yep.
Wow, it looks fantastic. So clean.
And then our next mic that we're coming out with, we'll probably sneak a peek at AES in New York and then introduce it at NAMM, Winter NAMM.
Oh, cool.
Will be the multi-pattern version of this.
Oh, right. Well, that makes sense.
So it'll be multi-pattern. It'll have a pad and a high-pass filter.
Oh, perfect.
And then I don't know where we go after that because we're kind of got all the bases covered.
Well, there may be some updates to your existing stuff.
Yep.
But once you got a solid product line like that, you're fine. You don't have to. I would imagine in your business it's not so necessary to always be coming up with something new, as long as you got a full offering.
Right.
Hey, there's our phone, everybody.
Yeah, if it's my ex-wife, I'm not here.
That's right. That's funny. You can hide your weed in there, Baseface Josh says. Well, I would imagine if one were so inclined, yes.
And we don't know about that. We're in California.
Yeah, man. Where's my Bible? But anyway, so yeah, well, guys, we're about an hour here on the recording, about an hour and a half on the show. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about real quick, or got to run, see this weekend? Sounds great, Dusty. Peter says, look forward to meeting you sometime. Yeah, Peter's here this weekend playing at the Bowl with Sarah.
Oh, cool.
And the LA Philharmonic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ads for that.
Oh, dude. Yeah, there's some pictures that we just put up. Peter put them up on our Facebook page.
Well, just remember to leave early for the show because it's going to be...
Oh, it's Carmageddon weekend. I know, dude.
It's Carmageddon.
It's like ride your bicycle. You'll be faster.
Yeah, I'm staying home this weekend.
Neil's asking what strings are on that bass and how new. They are Diodario Chromes that are flat wounds.
They feel good too.
And they're about a year old right now. Maybe 9 months old, year old, something like that. Bassface Josh is asking, Dusty, what comps and comp settings do you normally run on a bass when mixing?
Well, when it depends. I mean, I love 1176s, about 4-to-1, maybe compressing like -3 to -5.
Yeah.
You know, when you mix in the box, it gets kind of crazy because you can have a Fairchild on every channel.
That's right.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I go back and forth. You know, the things I use in the box for mixing these days are just the digital versions of what I always used.
How do you think those compare to the real thing?
They get, you know, some of them are really good.
Some of them are getting there.
The UA stuff, I've got a UA2 quad card in my rig at home, and I love it, man. It sounds great.
It does.
Those are my favorite ones. There's so many out there I can't even keep track of all of them.
Yeah, and there's always new ones every 3 months.
There's new ones, but the UA stuff is great. They've really done a great job.
Yeah, it seems like they're getting there. You know, I would imagine in a few years they'll be indistinguishable. But, you know, the guitar stuff still, you know, I do little home sessions for some friends of mine that are producers, and I don't even get to use an amp. You know, I just plug into Amp Farm or something. And
The IK multimedia stuff, that stuff's really good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Because, man, I don't get along with that stuff at all. There's no interaction, you know, and I end up
Well, I don't know
playing
about the amps, but their compressors and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Those are all really good.
Yeah, no, the amps just aren't there yet.
Their mastering stuff's good, too.
That's cool. Yeah. Man, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, it's not as much fun, though.
Dusty, what is your favorite mic pre for the 201 on bass?
Well, any of these Neve or API, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. I always, 1073 seems to be the bass line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with that.
If you start with the 1073, it's always going to sound good. This one we're going through is it's a BAE 1073 copy with EQ added to it.
Right.
But we have the EQ off.
Right.
And then the MA5 Avitas one is just a straight 1073. There's nothing on it except for a 28K thing on the top, but it's just straight 1073. And then the other BAE little 500 series thing here is a 312A copy.
Right.
So I like to put that on the room just to have it punchy, but yeah, we can mess it around sometime, just play back and forth.
Yeah, that's where I usually start, is either Neve or API type.
Yeah. Yeah, the API stuff's always, I don't know, for lack of a better word, it seems to be a little more literal. You know, like it's very clean and like
a little more in your face.
A little correct, you know, like you're standing right next to it, whereas the Neve's a little more elegant and smooth sounding.
Right.
You mix them together, they, in my humble opinion, they seem to complement each other okay.
Yep.
But, well, cool, guys. So, yeah, if just want to throw it open again for any other quick questions. If not, you know, I can have the Apollo again next week, and we'll play some guitar through it. And Dusty, you're always welcome to come back, man, if you want.
Oh, you know, I love coming over.
If you got some extra other mics. You said you had the 20, what was it, one you wanted to do for the guitar?
Yeah,
right?
The 100, which is the
100, the tube
We're using
version.
the 101 FET now.
Yeah, well, not today, but yeah, that's
normally on guitars. And the 100 is the tube version of that.
I'd love to hear that, because that 101 FET sounds great.
Yeah.
That's really...
And since the beauty of these amps is they're not like super loud.
Right.
For recording.
Yes.
You know, we can get a good sound. The 100 will handle it.
Yeah,
if you're running a 100-watt Marshall stack,
yeah,
you know, really loud,
yeah,
135 dB or something where the studio window
yeah.
is curving.
Right, where
the 100,
nauseous.
it's kind of getting to the rails.
Yeah.
Which the 101 will take that. The 101 has a pad, so it'll go up to like 145 dB.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It'll take snare drums.
Wow.
But the 100 sounds great on guitar as long as it's the right application.
Well, yeah, let's try it.
Yep.
Well, we can try this, and we can, you know, it's easiest to pop a couple of different heads in here so we could compare the Apollo head with, you know, an Empire or Tupelo or something just totally different and see how that mic reacts. If you're up for it, and I'll buy you barbecue lunch.
Cool. Swinging door.
That's right. You want
Texas
to go
style?
now?
Sure.
I'm hungry.
Sure, yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we're going to go eat.
Two rednecks talking about barbecue. I guess show's over. Oh, hey, Michael DeTemple. Hey, how are you? Sorry I couldn't get there with the bass. Should I come now? Well, we're just getting ready to stop, Michael. Gosh, and I won't be doing a show until next week. Oh, there's another question here for you, Dusty. Sorry. It says, do you have any experience with Chandler pre's? I tried the TG2 the other day. Best I've ever heard.
I hear, I kind of stopped.
Sorry, Michael. We'll give you another chance. If you still have it next week, let's do it again, okay? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I kind of, around the time I was winding down my full-time recording career and transitioning into running Mojave, is when the Chandler stuff started coming out.
Yeah, they're really good.
I didn't get to use it that much, but I've got a lot of friends that just live and die by it and rave about it. So I would feel real good about using some Chandler stuff. I'd love to get my hands on it. I just never really did.
Well, Chandler sent me a sample to use for the show. And it sounded fantastic, but it has a very distinct sound.
Right.
And I didn't think it would be sort of intellectually honest to demo my amps through it.
And I know that their different models, sound quite different from each other.
Because that TG2 is a germanium one.
Right.
And that germanium has such a cool sound.
Yeah.
But I noticed as I ran 3 or 4 different amps through it, it all sounded more like the pre than it did the amp.
Right.
Like even made my little Tupelo sound like germanium.
Right.
And
what's germanium?
It's a germanium transistor.
No, I mean, what's it sound like to you?
It's got a really pronounced sort of upper mid-range to it. That's cool. It's a very British rock sound.
Right.
And but the TG2 to me sounded just killer. But it sounded very much like that preamp, whereas these sounded a lot more neutral to me.
Right, so you can really hear the difference.
Yeah, because I'm not here like making recordings. I'm here trying to let people
hear the amps. Sure.
Yeah, feel what an expensive amp is without having to drive somewhere and play it.
Right.
Excuse me, I'm burping again. See, we got talking about barbecue and I got all crazy. But so yeah, I love the Chandler stuff. That and I want to get a distressor.
Distressors are great. That's my desert island compressor.
Yeah.
Because they do
so many.
Well, it's in my rack.
I know, I'm kidding.
I'd have to.
That was a facetious question. Man. No, I was kidding. Everyone, I don't want you to take your rack apart. Yeah. I just got to find some money somewhere to get it because I think for the broadcast, the distressor will be great because the limiting is so clean on it.
It does so many things well. That's if I had to live with one compressor.
Yeah.
When I sold Mad Dog, I kept one 1176 and 2 distressors.
Oh, right.
But my friend Andrew Mudrock, who produces Godsmack and Avenged Sevenfold, I'm going to hook you guys up.
Oh, okay.
Because he's in L.A. He just did a session on this band called Kill Sonic last night.
Oh, cool.
With like 30 Mojaves and Royers.
Holy cow.
When we get it all done, it'll all be over the web.
Wow.
It's a big eclectic band with tubas and stuff like that.
That's like
it's kind of a Burning Man kind of vibe. Lots of drummers.
Let's see. Martin says, Dan, do you have any Chandler pre's there? What kind do you have? I tested 8 different pre's the other day, and the Chandler is my choice in my ears. Yeah, no, I think the Chandler is fantastic. I really do. I wanted stuff that's really neutral for the show so that.
That's a really good company, too. I know those people, and they're great people. They're take care of their customers, and they're passionate about what they do.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I think, who hooked me up with them was John Jennings.
Right.
John said, hey, would you let him try one out? And I hooked it up, and it sounded fantastic, but I kind of felt like somebody would hear me playing through that and then go in the store and go, well, this sounds different.
Right.
And I just didn't want to do that. So we're trying to go as raw and literal and honest as we can here so that you guys don't go spend $3,000, $4,000 on a rig and then go, well, gee, it sounded really good on your thing, but it's germanium transistors or what you're listening to. No, I think it's a good opinion, Martin. Those are good.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
Yeah. And Neve and API are neutral. No, neither of them are, but they colored it less than the Chandler, I thought.
And they're kind of like time tested for guitars.
Yeah, that
you just can't go wrong.
And the Neve and the API together, I think, kind of fill in each other's gaps. But yeah, and again, you're right. It's an opinion. It's sound. It's like food. I like hot mustard. Some people don't. But yeah, if you want to bring a Chandler over, we'll plug it in. And see, I just don't have the money to buy one right now. Well, anyway, guys, here we are. It's 1:35 on the West Coast.
It's lunchtime.
It's lunchtime. My stomach is growling. And it's been a great session. I appreciate you guys hanging out. And we'll see you next week. You're welcome for the great show. It's our pleasure. It's very fun. Once again, big thanks to Dusty Wakeman.
Always a pleasure.
For coming over. It's so great to have real guys and experts here instead of nerds like me. Me too, burp. Oh, that's really, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. You know what it's like, and Neil's in San Antonio, Texas, so he knows what barbecue is.
Texas.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Dusty's a Houston guy, so. Enchiladas. Yeah, man. Oh, we'll be there. We got a little bit of Mexican food here too.
We got lots of Mexican food.
This place was Mexico also until white people discovered it.
Right. We're a little barbecue deprived out here, but we're lucky because we got Swinging Door.
Swinging Door's pretty okay.
Yeah.
It's not fantastic, but it's really good.
Yeah.
And for LA scene, it's great.
Yeah.
Their chicken is just crazy.
It's kind of the only Texas style that I know of.
Well, there's that Hoggly Wogglies. I was going to say on Sepulveda, but it's
overpriced, overhyped.
It's not that good.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
There's the Bear Pit out off the 118. It's Missouri style. It's a hickory smoke with a sweet sauce. Oh man, I'm salivating like a dog.
I'll have to check that out.
It's pretty good. It's Sepulveda actually, but you go up on the 118. Got to take the 5 up to the 118. It's right off Sepulveda up there. That's really good. And it's, they do, sort of Kansas City style. But dang, we got to go. All right, guys. Thanks again. Once again, it's July 13th, 2011.
Maybe we should do an all barbecue show one day.
Let's do a remote one.
Yeah, from Swinging Door.
Where there's like smoke coming across our face.
Yeah, show them the pits. Can you do that with your iPad?
If I get bandwidth, yeah.
Cool.
As long as I have enough bandwidth, I can do it. Yeah, we'll do it, and we can.
We'll get David Royer down there.
Oh yeah,
watch him eat one of those dino ribs they have.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they have this dinosaur rib, right?
Yeah,
it's literally as big as your forearm. Last time I was there and I saw you and David, he's just like, it was pretty funny. All right, guys. Michael DeTemple says barbecue spaghetti. Oh, that sounds good, Michael. Let's do it. I can put barbecue sauce on anything, man. I can put it on shoe leather. And it's all right. Yeah, Kansas City barbecue is what I grew up eating. So, sweet hickory sauce. Anyway, we'll talk barbecue next time. Anyway, guys, take care over here. I'm Dan Boul. This is Dusty Wakeman. And
adios, amigos.
Thank you for your time, and we'll see you very, very soon. All right, and there's all kinds of questions coming in, but we got to go and eat.